Well, there's been reaction to the events in Ukraine. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says the Ukrainian opposition has failed to deliver on its side of a peace deal signed on Friday. He's accusing opposition leaders of being under the control of what he calls armed extremists. In a statement, Lavrov said it's time to stop misleading international public opinion and pretending that the Maidan represents the interests of the Ukrainian nation. Well, let's talk more about Russia's view on what's going on in Ukraine and the events of the last few hours with James Jatras. He's a former U.S. diplomat and former advisor for the U.S. Senate. Thank you very much for being with us on Al Jazeera once again. From the Russian perspective, do you think they understand that the game is over for Viktor Yanukovych, or are they going to try and do something about this and to revert to the old situation, you think?
Well, I don't know what the old situation's prospects could be at this point, but as you know, President Yanukovych is not conceding that he is out of office. He is out of the capital, and right now it's not clear who is in control in Kiev. At the moment, it seems the city is under the control of men with clubs and Molotov cocktails. So even the opposition leaders cannot claim to be in control of Kiev. Meanwhile, President Yanukovych in Kharkov says he is the leader of the legitimate government. And the eastern part of the country and the southern part of the country, it's not clear if they will submit to any authority coming from Kiev now. As far as the Russians go, I think they have two things in particular that they're interested in. One is that they see this as what they've been saying all along, a coup to overthrow a legally, democratically elected president and take power from the streets against constitutional and legal standards. The other question is, and this helped to lead to this crisis in the first place, the Russians have a very strong stake in maintaining Ukraine as an economically viable partner, more than even the European Union and certainly more than the United States. Think of the American interest of, say, Canada or Mexico were to collapse economically and fiscally. That's why the Russians were there in November with a big pile of money when the Europeans were not, and why Mr. Yanukovych chose their option over the European one.
Right. The White House has also been reacting and has praised what it called the constructive work in Ukraine's parliament. In a statement, it said, we have consistently advocated a de-escalation of violence, constitutional change, a coalition government and early elections. And today's developments, they say, could move us closer to that goal. Will these developments move Ukraine closer to the West, you think? And what do you make of this U.S. reaction? Do you think the U.S. played a key role in events in Ukraine and how they unfolded?
I don't know to what extent the U.S. played a key role. The agreement that Mr. Lavrov referred to that was signed yesterday by three European foreign ministers, by the opposition leaders, and by Mr. Yanukovych was violated by the opposition before the ink on it was even dry. It's hard for me to see how this could be called anything constitutional, constructive, legal, democratic by any stretch of the imagination. When the dust settles and the fires burn out, somebody is going to have to start paying some bills. The only ones that are really standing in the wings are the Russians, and right now, to whom can they even send the money? The guys with the Molotov cocktails.
Right. Well, let's talk about what is happening as far as the opposition in Ukraine. We saw Yulia Tymoshenko in Kiev earlier, and she's no doubt positioning herself as a leader. But how do you think this is going to go down with the other opposition, the Vitaly Klitschko's, who actually fought alongside the protesters in Maidan? Will she retain their respect? Is she the personality who can lead the opposition, in your opinion?
It's an interesting question. I think for the short term, it's simply going to add to the chaos. As the introductory piece pointed out, she's no angel, which is a euphemism for suggesting that the allegations of corruption against her are as great as against anybody in Ukrainian politics, which frankly is saying quite a lot. Whether or not she's going to be able to elbow these other people out of the way when still, at the moment, power in Kiev resides in the streets is a very open question.
Okay, thank you very much for your insight and sharing your viewpoint with us. James Jatras, former U.S. diplomat, joining us there live from Washington, D.C.